Welcome to Group Dates and Hot Takes, a Bachelor Nation podcast. I'm Sampy.
I'm Christy. We're recapping Bachelor in Paradise.
Here we are in week 3, and it's going down. It's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot that happened. Are you ready to break it all down?
No, I'm not.
Well,
Would you like to discuss anything from Bachelor Nation as a whole while I compose myself?
just one quick thing, but kind of major news. Matt James is going to be on Dancing with the Stars, which I don't know if you remember at the end of one of his episodes, he did that dance for Maggie.
Which was terrible?
It was just awkward because he was doing like a TikTok dance with no music. And poor Maggie's just sitting there having to like sort of clap along. I found it funny, but I guess we'll see.
I won't get into my thoughts on TikTok, but
I think I know what they are.
Well, Dancing with the Stars is another ABC show, right?
So you got synergy going on there.
That makes. I don't know if synergy is what I'd like to call it, but
Cross promotion.
cross pollination, perhaps. Well, if that's the only thing, let's get to this recap.
Yeah, we start with Marissa and Riley waking up in the boom boom room, and apparently things went well for them.
That still just blows my mind.
Well, I mean, they're happy, so
Yeah, I mean,
it's their choice.
whatever
Yeah.
floats your boat, I guess. But it does seem kind of strange in a situation where, because I mean, isn't the point you're supposed to kind of put yourself out there and kind of get to know some people and I thought and had the expectation of something that different than what has actually happened in terms of like people coupling up.
I mean, you don't always see hookups this quick, but I think for them it was just like, might as well.
I mean, I don't know if they just felt like they had to redeem the date after the whole like cow tongue
Maybe.
thing.
It's also apparently one of the few rooms, or maybe even the only room down there that has AC. So that's another incentive.
Wow. Unbelievable. She's like, I will literally do anything, even have sex with you, just so that I can be cool for a little while. Wow.
So
That is something else.
we see Ivan saying he and Jasenia have been the strongest couple, which not really sure where he got that from. But then,
Well, everyone says that.
then we cut to somebody named Chris Conran walking down the stairs, who I don't think I've ever seen before.
Well, I think you have. I'm pretty sure. What I gathered from the episode was that he was on somebody's season, and he got eliminated the first
Which
night.
is probably why I don't remember him. But he walks down the stairs, and Chasen is standing there, who I do remember from that same season. But I was not a huge fan of Chasen, I remember.
I hope this doesn't qualify as bullying, but I do not like that name whatsoever.
Well, he'll have to take that up with his parents.
I may tweet them. I mean, jeez, just name him Jason for goodness sakes. Like,
Or Chase.
Nope, neither was
we
good
needed
enough.
the combo.
But it's not. it's not the name. The name is not why I don't like him. I don't like him for other reasons.
Yeah,
And
they didn't
Go ahead,
give
please.
off a good first impression. Even just there on the stairs where they were all like broing out. They kept mentioning smoke shows. It's very strange.
Yeah, so in a universe, a television universe that sort of makes bank off of exploiting beautiful people, even this was a little strange. Having these two guys be like, "Oh, look at that woman. She's such a smoke show."
Yeah.
Very strange.
So both of them end up talking to different women, and at this point, Mari talks to Kenny, I guess, at some point.
Well, yeah, because she's an dear Lord, I just the level of gigantic mistake that
I know, right?
was. Just
So bad.
in my mind, right? It's like you have a good thing going. Like, what are you doing? Because for those who didn't watch the episode or who weren't paying attention, she goes to him and it's like, hey, I just feel like we should talk about, how we should maybe date other people. And he's like, but I like you. And she's like, but like if I get asked on a date, like I don't want to just say no. And so, I mean, I guess I get what she was trying to communicate, but she really did not approach that in an intelligent way whatsoever. And so what he got from that was she's not that into me and I should go talk with other people.
That seems like a logical conclusion based on what she said, even though she kept being like, oh, that's not what I meant. But like, if you're going to say, I want to go on a date with somebody else if they come down, but then tell him, wait, but you can't go on a date with another girl, that's hypocritical. So that doesn't work.
Yes.
Like, either you both get to do the same thing or you both stay with each other. But she was not a fan.
He really, and he did not react in a way that she was hoping.
No. So I guess Chris ends up taking Jasenia on the date, and then Jason chooses Deandra.
Which, seems the classic situation, right? The newcomers get a date.
This time it's a double, and they meet. How many times have you and I seen this exact same date? So they meet a woman who's playing a flute. She's sitting on a bed, and she says she is an intimacy guru, and you immediately know what it's gonna be. This stuff is so uncomfortable to watch on television.
Yeah, because basically, since this is, I don't know what rating category they're in, but they're not able to go totally to the extent of. Is it Big Brother where they literally have the cameras everywhere and it ends up being fairly inappropriate a lot of times?
The cameras are everywhere, but I don't think people are having sex.
Okay, well, hopefully not. But they're like, ooh, this is very sexual, but we're gonna kind of pull back a little bit from this, so we don't get in trouble with the whatever the I don't know if they get in trouble with the MPAA or what, or the League of Mothers against their children seeing things or whatever. I don't know exactly. But yeah, it was quite awkward because they were just there, and the lady's like, we're just gonna have you blow on each other.
Yeah, it's just so cringy.
Just pay attention to the air that's flowing from their mouth
Yeah,
onto your
the
toe.
women seem to like it, but I just found it very strange. And then you see scenes of Ivan back at the beach, all confident. Like, I can't imagine them doing anything physical. And you cut back to
as it cuts back to like this was I guess like a simulated sexual position.
where the guys are like crouching over the girls as they're like on the ground. It was these editors are having a good time with this, that's for sure.
Yeah. And poor Carl as well.
Yes, he's not happy Deandra is out on this date. And then Jasenia in her ITM says that there's one thing missing with Ivan. So, you know, that's a conversation that's going to be coming later.
Which is just so funny. Because she's like, oh, he ticks so many boxes, you know, all these things. But there's just one thing missing. And what do you know? Chris checks that box. They're like, he has that one thing.
And I mean, they show her and Chris eating strawberries and kissing at the same time, which should never have been done on television.
Or anywhere. Yeah, that was quite awkward. I was just gonna talk about the Mari and Kenny thing again.
Oh, you mean where she goes and tells Demi about her decision?
Which was,
I mean,
like, that's just part 2 of the worst decision of her life.
Yes. Like, why would you confide in Demi, the one person who will make a move on anyone? She told Demi the whole thing about, like, I might want to go on other dates with other guys, and, like, basically telling her, hey, look, Kenny's available. And then, like, Demi, of course, goes and chats with Kenny, and the next thing you know, they're making out.
Well, the one thing about that, too, was didn't Mari specifically, like, encourage? She was like, go after whoever you want. Wasn't that part of that same conversation?
Yes. So she can't even be mad.
Oh man, that's just yeah, and you know, I mean, Demi is somebody who is going to wield her sexuality as a weapon.
Oh yeah. Everything out of her mouth is like, she says she can only imagine how good Kenny would be in bed. Like, Demi is incapable of saying anything that is not charged.
Well, I mean, you know, you saw it. I mean, she walked over, like, she's on that whatever futon or whatever with him, and she's like, whoops, my nipple fell out.
I know, every single thing is sexual. It's just so, I'm just so tired of it.
Or even as she's sitting there, she's like, oh, a bug bit me on my butt, and she, like, pulls down her It's like,
I know, everything.
Yes, that was real stupid of Mari. Let's be totally real. I am constantly just like, you are something else. I mean, there's a real reason why Victoria went home, and that specifically is that Demi is way more dramatic.
Oh yeah.
So can I ask you about the Connor situation?
Yeah, apparently he didn't know about Riley and Marissa, which doesn't really make sense to me. But Riley asked Marissa if she's talked to Connor, and she said no.
Well, because he being Connor had talked to her at some point about the date, and she very clearly, like, sidestepped it.
Yes, that was the next thing I was going to bring up. That, like, he asked did you guys get back late? What are you doing tonight? Do you have any plans? Very awkwardly trying to like hang out with her, but at the same time, he doesn't know she literally slept with someone else the night before.
Which doesn't necessarily mean anything, Christy. Okay, we're in paradise. These things happen. But no, he's gone.
Yeah, he is out of luck.
Yeah.
He's also wearing a very weird set of clothing.
Just slightly. Yeah, how to describe this? I mean, it was a shirt and pair of shorts, matching. It was a matching set. Half of it was like some sort of multiple personality type Two-Face from the Batman franchise sort of deal, where half was like this sort of Hawaiian floral print and the other was like these orange stripes, I guess.
Yeah, but it was split in half, like vertically.
Yes, it was vertically.
So,
yes.
like, one half of him is floral, the other half is striped.
Mm-hmm. It was a choice.
Yes, the castmates were like really loving it.
I feel like that only happened because everybody knew that Riley slept with Marissa.
Oh yeah, probably some sympathy there.
Like literally, I would not be surprised because that was going around like that rumor or thought that had happened. I'm sure by that point.
Yeah, and then Tajwan finally tells Connor about what Marissa did the night before, and he's wondering why she didn't tell him since they had talked that morning. But he now feels deflated.
Well, yes, because he knows. He knows that it's probably all over. His journey. She has a stronger connection with Mr. Biceps.
Yes. Kind of hard to compete in that department for him. I mean, I guess her taste is not Connor. So.
Yes.
He lost out.
Unfortunate, but also perhaps inevitable.
So next we have this like weird Brendan and Natasha scene where she tells him she feels disconnected, and then she talks to Lance Bass for some reason, and he's like, oh, you should take matters into your own hands. So then like you see later that night Natasha is giving Brendan a massage, and like he asks her like, how much do I owe you, and then like finally kisses her. It was just very like forced, and also you can tell he's not really that into her. Like it's pretty clear. So it just felt kind of fake.
But maybe he is into her.
I doubt that. I mean, we saw the preview at the end of the episode.
Wow. We're not gonna talk about that yet.
So next, Ivan finds a date card, and it's for Joe, and he obviously takes Serena. So they go to dinner, and it's in the middle of a wrestling ring. And I guess they just talk about Kendall mostly. Joe explaining like why they broke up and the different living situations they wanted.
Yeah, which I still feel a little bit strange about this couple.
Is it the age difference?
I don't know. It just in some ways I feel like maybe she's out of his league. I don't know. That's not really true, but it's just kind of, I know. Maybe it is the age gap, perhaps, because he's like super old.
Yeah, 35.
And then she's like super young. At like what, 24?
Yeah, something like that. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yes, a lot of just debriefing about Kendall. I mean, I guess Serena ended up feeling more confident after this date. I think she was afraid they were starting to plateau a little bit. So I think she was glad that they could continue progressing their relationship.
Yep. We see Ivan and Jasenia chatting, and this is where she tells him the spark isn't there, but she fills it with Chris. Tells him the spark can't be forced.
So I feel like you're rushing things a little, Christy. I feel like we didn't sufficiently discuss the post-dinner wrestling.
Oh, with Joe and Kendall?
No.
Sorry,
oh my
Joe and
goodness.
Serena.
Oh my goodness. How dare you? Has he not suffered enough? That poor man gets his heart broken, and you sit there and have the audacity to call Serena P. Kendall. Unbelievable. Joe, if you ever happen to hear this, I just want you to know that I am so sorry. This should have never happened.
Yeah.
Yes, but they dressed up in like luchador sort of like wrestling outfits with like the masks and the capes. Joe was not into that.
No, I wouldn't have been into that either.
Wow. Where's your sense of adventure? I don't get it.
It's just not my thing.
You haven't wanted to be a Mexican wrestler?
Nope.
So maybe you need to expand your horizons a little bit. But yeah, of course, because they spent a very minimal amount of time pretending to wrestle, and way more time just kissing on the floor.
Oh, yeah, that was just an excuse to get on the ground.
So yes, we can return to Ivan and Jasenia. I just, this conversation between the two of them, when she's like, you check so many of my boxes, but like, there's like this spark with Chris, and Ivan's just like, well, are all the boxes better or is the spark better? And she's just like, sparks can't be forced.
I know. That was kind of brutal.
And that's when you knew it was over.
Yeah, we have the cliche, like, contemplating by the ocean shot.
Yes, thinking about what life is all about, considering whether or not to just walk into the ocean and disappear forever.
But thankfully Noah is there to comfort him.
Ugh.
What a good friend.
Which is just funny since earlier Noah specifically said, he was like, yeah, I could see Chris and Jasenia working out. You remember that?
No, I forgot.
Yeah, because they were having a conversation while the date was happening, and Ivan asked him, and he was like, yeah, I could see them working out. Sorry, I don't want to lie to you.
Well, I guess he was right.
Oh, yes. He was. And it's all over. All over for poor Ivan. This relationship is no longer progressing.
So next we see this really funny scene between Carl, Deandra, and Chasen. Because we have Carl chatting with Deandra, and he's trying to give her this bracelet, and he's taking forever to lead up to it. He said so much before he finally brought the bracelet out.
Look, Carl is not a fast man. Okay, he's an explainer. Okay, an explainer's got to explain. But it was pretty funny because he sort of stole Deandra away. He's like, I got to make this happen. Ah. And then Jason just keeps coming back constantly.
Oh, so funny.
And Carl's just like, I just need a couple minutes, man. I just need a couple minutes. And then he leaves, and you see him lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, he's so close. Literally, the camera is on Jason, and Carl and Deandra are literally in the foreground. He's just standing there lurking over them.
It's so funny. And because he comes back, and Carl's just like, I just give me 30 seconds, please.
Carl needs to get to the point faster.
Yes, but I also I understand at some level, but it's still fairly creepy behavior.
Oh
on
yeah,
the part
for
of
sure.
Jason. So creepy.
Yeah, he's just being obnoxious.
Mm.
So then we had this whole campfire scene, which was also pretty funny.
We have to talk about this.
These were too weird not to mention, I feel like. So Riley asks, where is the craziest place you have had sex? And the one in particular, or maybe two in particular to mention, is Trey mentions a cemetery, which is very creepy.
You've never had sex in a cemetery? It's all the rage these days.
And then Kenny mentions a Ferris wheel. Both of those to me are very odd places.
Well, yes. I mean, it seems like, and hopefully this isn't too inappropriate for our family-friendly podcast, but it seems like things would have to move pretty quick if you were going to do it in a Ferris wheel.
Or you just stay in it multiple times.
Yeah, but you can't do that. The operator's going to be like, hey, guys, you need to get out. That's just,
No, I feel like the operator wouldn't mess with you in that case. He'd just let you keep going.
I don't even want to think about that nightmare fuel.
Yeah, that's why I thought, man, why Kenny?
Well, I feel like Kenny maybe does not have the best judgment, perhaps.
Yeah, he is entangled with Demi at the moment. Speaking of which, she walks back to the group carrying a cake and decides to sing happy birthday to Kenny. I didn't catch when his birthday actually was, if it was that day.
Or even if it was true. Hard to say.
Yeah, who knows?
Because I think she was just kicking things into overdrive to make sure that she finished pulling him away from Mari.
Yeah, she actually walks off with Kenny to show him a happy 40th birthday sign. And he has to hit a piñata. When stuff falls out, it's not candy, it's condoms. Because everything with Demi has to be sexual.
Yeah, because he said something about do you really need this many? She's like, absolutely, or something like that.
Yeah, and she has this little girl persona that really is so annoying because it's fake. You can tell it's not real.
You're telling me Peppy Roz is put on?
I don't understand how Kenny is tolerating this. He's 40 years old. How is he I don't get it.
Well, if I had to guess, the reason would be sexual in nature.
Still, you have to deal with Demi the rest of the time.
Wow. Look, Christy, perhaps other people have different priorities than you would. Perhaps some people are willing to put up with things so that they can have sex more frequently.
Man, that's a high price to pay.
I just love your incredulity. You would have to put up with it the rest of the time. Oh, that is great.
So at this point, Mari grabs the cake and throws it on the fire, which I loved.
Yeah, I mean, I get being upset about it, but she 100% did this to herself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not the most mature thing to do, but it was very funny to watch.
Yeah, she just marches.
And then poor Riley.
Marches across.
Yeah. Riley wanted a slice.
Can I do... Well, okay, let's continue. Never mind. We'll continue. I'll bring this up later.
We see this random shot of Tajwan screaming down by the ocean. There was no explanation at all.
Okay, fine. I'll talk about it now. So, here's my question / theory. Do you think they just showed that out of order? Because not too long after that, you had this whole sequence where Taj was freaking out again or still, and she was like, Taj can't pee, Taj can't poop, and then she's like, spaghetti always does the trick, and then she's like off by herself eating spaghetti again.
Yeah, I think that was all the same night.
Yeah, well, yes, but what I'm saying is, do you think they showed that out of order, like based on what happened later? Do you because okay, and this is kind of a spoiler. I apologize for bringing this up now. This is not chronological, but both Trey and Tajwan go home this later, a while later. So what I'm wondering is, do you think that these scenes were from after that conversation they had? Because otherwise, I don't understand why that would be happening. Because there's literally no explanation whatsoever.
Yeah, there must have been something going on. Was she talking about producers? Because I've heard stories about contestants being told they can't pee right now or something, or can't go to the bathroom. So I don't know what this whole can't pee, can't poop thing was. It was so random and out of context. I don't know if the spaghetti had anything to do with that either. I was so confused. They didn't explain.
Yeah, well, and that's why I was wondering if maybe that had been filmed after the conversation, and they just put it in the episode earlier for some reason, just because right. I mean, I think they were trying to build up all the drama that was sort of happening and building into the rose ceremony.
Yeah, I don't remember when.
You don't.
Okay, well, actually, Trey chatting with Tajwan and them leaving, that was the next day. So I still think this stuff on the beach happened before.
I thought they had that conversation at night though.
Yeah, it was the night of the rose ceremony.
But I thought this night was the night of the rose ceremony.
No, because this is still at Demi and Kenny. Remember, they go to the boom boom room. So this is still a different night.
All right. Well, I still wonder if they put the footage in from the night that next night. That's what I'm saying. I was just basically what I'm saying is they both happened at night.
Mhm.
And so I'm still wondering if perhaps that is the case, where they just wanted to have more drama in there and so added it, but I don't know, because it's very confusing. I mean, it was sort of the same level of confusing as that 7-second clip we had during Katie's season with the two guys who were like, "Oh, I hate you! Oh, I hate you more!"
Oh, yeah.
where it made zero sense. That's how I felt about this. But I I apologize for derailing. We can continue in chronological order now.
So next, Mari and Demi chat, and it's just a whole lot of name calling. It's not much need to rehash that, but they don't like each other. And then Mari pulls Kenny aside, and he goes, "Now you want to talk?" It was pretty funny. And then she tries to pull the whole like, "Oh, I was misunderstood," and like the difference is that you're doing things with Demi in front of me. But I just feel like she brought this on herself, and.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's literally, I mean, what it felt like to be was they had that conversation, and Mari was like, "Hey, I think we should see other people, and by we, I mean me. I don't want you to see other people."
Yeah, very, very hypocritical.
Just very strange. Very, very strange. But I feel like we have this it's just this train wreck. The Aaron Thomas train wreck.
Oh.
That just
Yes.
keeps on going.
I mean, when will it end? We see Aaron feeling confident about Tammy, but then he sees Thomas talking with her.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this Aaron begins to spiral here. So that you see Tammy has now straddled Thomas. They're making out, and Aaron is about to explode. He says, "I can't believe she kissed my mortal enemy." This is not as high stakes as you think it is, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, of course. And here's the thing, too. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if the producers told Thomas to, like, try to be involved with Tammy. I would not be surprised whatsoever.
Yeah, they needed more drama. Might as well continue the feud from the previous season.
Mm-hmm. Just like that. I mean, there's something related to this that I'll talk about later. The rose ceremony. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, they absolutely hate each other. And now, Aaron is adrift right before the rose ceremony. Betrayed. Oh, so sad.
Yep, we see it's now pouring rain the day of the rose ceremony. And for some reason, Kenny decides to tell the entire group that how much he's liking things with Demi. And then Mari calls him out of that and says it's inappropriate to announce that to everyone, which kind of agreed with her on that. Like, obviously everybody sees he's with Demi. Like, what's the point of, like, rubbing it in her face or anything?
Because he got spurned, and so he's spurning back. I mean, that's literally all it is.
Yep, so Aaron and Thomas are back
again.
Fighting with each other. I hear stuff like, "I deserve some respect and communication."
No, you don't deserve anything.
And this is basically where this episode ends. We see Tammy going to interrupt them, and they do like a cliffhanger, and then the next episode starts.
Oh boy.
And
see, I feel like this week a lot of stuff happened, but also like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's usually the case for Bachelor episodes.
Why do we even do this, Christy? What's the point?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just like...
Aaron's just annoyed. That's basically the...
Yeah, I mean, then the two of them just go around and around and around and around and around in circles. It's like there's never is there going to be progress here. Never is there going to be any sort of conclusion. Sorry, go ahead.
He calls Thomas a big body trash can. I mean, what kind of insult is that?
Well, I mean, you have.
This,
I don't know what it is, and maybe they're not allowed to be too mean or something. Because like Trey will call people, and specifically Thomas, like a human trash bag, or he'll like he'll be like see something somebody does and it's like, oh, that was really human trash bag, like trash bag behavior or something. I don't know if like dirt bag is too harsh or whatever, like the other variants are too harsh.
I don't know. The insults aren't really landing. So
no.
He also says he'd be fine if he never saw Tammy again. So he's also angry with her.
Well, because he's in danger, Christy. He got betrayed at the last moment. And now he hasn't talked to anyone else. He just had a connection with Tammy. And now everything's on the line. It's terrible. And so stressful.
Well, it does turn around for him later, but we'll get to that. So we see Riley sort of like rapping / reciting poetry.
Nah.
Not my thing, but Marissa loves it. And then we see a continuation of the Deandra, Chase, and Carl triangle, which is just still really funny because he decides to give her a fancy necklace. This is Chasen now, just to one-up Carl. Which, side note, somebody found this, quote, fancy necklace on Twitter. It was like $21 on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be like this glittery, expensive looking thing. I don't know. Like, how would you know that though? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't know, but
I don't know. Yeah, it's this whole thing. Like, I just feel like Deandra was only ever with Carl for his rose.
Oh yeah,
and she kind of treats him like a little kid, essentially. Like everything she said to him, it just seems very like condescending, and
a little patronizing,
and sort of just like pat, like, oh, you wouldn't understand, which like as annoying as Carl can be, like it's just kind of sucky to see people treated like that.
Yeah, she even says, "Oh, you're so mature."
Yeah, right after she like rejects his bracelet because she got better bling.
Yeah, she gives it back
and everything, and is basically just telling him, gonna screw you. Like, I could never see anything with you, and then he says stuff about probably like wishing her the best and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, you're so mature." Pat.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear based on what happens later that she did not like either of them. So.
Yep.
And then Demi, at this point, also says both pieces of jewelry are hideous, which, I mean, that might be the first thing she said I agree with.
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say, here's where we see Trey break up with Taj.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, why would you self-eliminate?
Well, but also the reasoning where he's like, I don't feel like we're right for each other. Like, basically just saying that they're not good at communication. It's like, what is wrong with you? If you're not good at communication, get better at communication. What, like, how is just running away solve any problem?
I wonder if Tajwan's response to Riley coming in is part of his reasoning. Because remember how like upset she was that she couldn't go on the date with him. So it seems like Trey probably picked up on the fact that she's not that into him either.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I obviously like he did see that and was kind of upset that she was upset, but I don't know. I just feel like it's part of the game, and it's not like I don't know. It just seemed like she had kind of gotten over that. Maybe not, but
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen much of them since then, really.
yeah, it just seemed strange to me that you'd just sort of chop off your nose to spite your face there.
Yeah. So Lance
Lance
has
Bass.
an announcement. Yes. Basically his announcement is that Becca Kufrin is arriving.
And who is
How
this
much
woman?
do you know about us? So,
Nothing.
Probably nothing. So she was on Ari's season of The Bachelor.
I don't know who that is.
He was a race car driver. It's not worth going quite back that far, but she got to she actually was the winner of his season, but then he dumped her in this like iconic side by side split screen breakup that they filmed, and so she became the Bachelorette after that because it was such a brutal breakup. And then she picked this guy who didn't turn out to be very good. He had all these like social media likes, which weren't great. So, but she was engaged to him for quite a bit, but then broke up in 2020, I think.
Huh. That is fascinating.
Yeah, so now she's here.
Giving a little hope to the displaced men of the world.
Yes, all the men are stoked to see her. And she chats with, we see like 3 or 4 men. We have Carl, who's trying to read her hand, which I was confused by, and
It's
she
called
seemed to have the best connection.
It's called fortune telling, Christy. Jeez. You read people's palms, you look at the lines in their hands and tell their future. It's totally legit and accurate.
Well, it wasn't enough to save him.
Hey, we aren't to the rose ceremony yet, Christy. Don't be spoiling things.
Yes, well, good.
I guess I don't understand totally people's like reactions and excitement.
She has like this like air about her that's different from everyone else because she was an actual bachelorette, so it's like she's more important or like I don't know.
I was
It might not make any
disinterested.
sense. Yeah, it also doesn't help that you haven't seen anything she's been in before.
I feel like I wouldn't care. Even if I had.
Yeah, but you would have at least had like some context.
Context that I didn't care. Sorry, I shouldn't be so terrible. You know, I love all these people.
So the rose ceremony, the only ones that weren't obvious were...
Hey, Christy. We gotta rehash Tajwan again. I know we already said that she left, but I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah,
why didn't
she
she just
kinda
wait
packed
till
up and
next
left.
week?
I don't know. She said she wasn't interested in anyone there, so...
Well, that's why I said, why don't she just wait till next week?
Well, because the next week, more women start coming, so there wouldn't have been any new men for her.
Really?
Yeah, because after this, remember we see like Tia coming and then Kendall. So she would have had to wait till after that rose ceremony for new men.
Oh, okay, well, I guess maybe that makes sense then. Huh. All right, so I'm sorry. That was a waste of time. Please continue.
So there were three roses that were like kind of up for debate. So Mari gave hers to James, which is kind of out of left field, but Deandra gave hers to Ivan, and Becca gave hers to Aaron.
And what I was gonna say is, I again would not at all be surprised if the producers were like, "Hey, so Becca, we're gonna need you to give that rose to Aaron so that we can continue having Aaron and Thomas fight with each other like idiots."
Yes, that was. I'm sure you were right. So Chasen, Connor, and Carl are going home.
Yep. Which, yeah, definitely saw Connor coming. It was inevitable. I mean, I was glad that Chasen went home because he kind of came off like a big old poopy pants.
Yeah, I wasn't sorry to see him go at all.
No. I would have been happy if Chris went home as well. TBH.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, like, the two of them just seemed like, I don't know, they just did not seem like very great people.
I can't really disagree.
Just, they did not have a positive impression. They did not give me a positive impression, okay?
So it is now the next morning, and Tia arrives. Tia was also on Ari's season, so she and Becca are friends. So, and she says she wants a godly man with abs.
Yeah, this is not the place to get one of those.
Well, she ends up asking Kenny to go on the date. And boy, is Demi not happy.
Though he did try to be like quote unquote mature about it.
Yeah, he talked to Demi first to be like, "Oh, should I go?" And Demi's like, "Well, I don't want you to go," and it was kind of left in the air. So.
Yeah.
So.
I just. It's like, of course she's not okay with it. She's put forth all this effort to seduce him. She doesn't want someone else to seduce him. You know?
So, at this point, we see Abigail, I guess, talking with I don't remember if this is where she was talking with the women or actually talking with Noah, but she's worried that they are in the friend zone. And this whole thing was super weird to me because she was like, "Oh, we're not as hot and heavy as the other couples who are like constantly making out." But like on her first date with Noah, she told him she moves slow. So I'm confused why.
She doesn't know what she wants, Christy.
Well, then she needs.
Jeez, give a woman a little slap.
She needs to communicate that that's not what she actually wants. I don't know. It was a little confusing.
Look, we've talked about this before, but people on this show are not necessarily good examples for strong emotional intelligence, having coping tools, and communication skills. And this is yet again another example. And I sort of feel similarly about this as I do about the Tajwan and Trey situation, because it's like, look, okay, you say like something's off or something's not working. If you actually care about the other person at all, maybe like think about putting a slight bit of effort into changing that. It's like our lives are not set in stone. Like, we actually have some, like, we have control over our actions, and we have some, you know, obviously the world works in crazy ways, but, like, we do actually have a fair amount of agency over our lives a lot of the time. So, just do something.
Yeah, maybe next episode they will actually like proactively communicate and figure it out. But
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they kind of, where they left things, they had kind of broken up.
I would say in limbo, which is not a great place to be. But so
I guess maybe you're right. It just seemed like they were over.
So the next thing we see is Kenny and Tia going on their date. And they meet up with 3 other people to play volleyball. However, this is apparently like a no clothes allowed volleyball game.
Which again is just this is producer manipulated nonsense.
Yeah, like the other people like remove all of their clothes. It's like 2 girls and a guy, and we actually see them take everything off. So the black boxes were actually necessary here. And then Tia and Kenny are trying to figure out like what they're gonna do. So they eventually agree that Kenny will take everything off, which, as I mentioned before, he is comfortable doing, and she'll take off her bikini top. But she is worried because her parents and Bible study people watch this show. So that's fun for her.
Which is quite an indictment of her church community. Watching this nonsense. Unbelievable.
Yeah, black boxes were working overtime for this date.
Yeah. I just...
So then...
Why was this necessary?
Wasn't, but... So then after they do the game... they eventually start talking about Demi, and she asks, like, had they gone to the boom boom room? And he says yes, and then she rightly points out that, like, you can't just sleep with Demi and then take someone else out on the date and not have consequences. Which seemed like Kenny had not thought about. I don't know why.
Well, cause she does know Demi, right?
I couldn't tell. She kept saying she was scared of her and that, like, she was gonna get murdered in her sleep. But
can I just say this is around this point where this quote that's quite hilarious, where Demi says, "The only thing worse than Tia's gaydar is those denim shorts."
Wow.
Which I would like to talk about a little bit, because I was somewhat confused, because for those of you who don't know, she's talking about Demi's talking about Colton, because Colton, I guess, and Tia had a thing.
Yeah.
But Colton came out recently as gay. But my question is, because I thought she was saying that she and Colton had been like doing their thing on that beach.
Well, so it was kind of this whole convoluted thing. I'm trying to remember the sequence of how this went. Before Colton was the Bachelor, he and Tia had like met up for a weekend or something and were like maybe sort of dating, but then he became the Bachelor, so it didn't happen.
Okay, so that was before, and that was not show related.
Well, yeah, but then,
or was it?
Well,
because
it happened before.
I feel like they showed like a shot.
Well, yes, because they were on the
happening.
beach together. So like after this was before.
So they were like in Bachelor
together,
in Paradise,
yes, for a little bit
before he became the Bachelor.
Yes, because Colton was on Paradise before he was the Bachelor.
Okay. See, I was confused about that, because I was like, I had thought that he just like went on the Bachelor, but then.
Well, he was a contestant on the Bachelorette before, and then Paradise, and
Okay,
then
so he went Bachelor.
so he did all
okay,
3
okay.
shows in 1 year, basically.
Oh wow, and really, it was all for
Yeah.
nothing. And I mean, it's kind of funny how they talk about like him being gay, because I feel like yeah, maybe gaydar was bad, but it's like just a like radar for creepy behavior, because he was the one who was like stalking that woman from his season, wasn't he? Was he?
Yes, he. That was a whole terrible. That's why I do not like Colton at all. Like, just horrible behavior towards Cassie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know all the details, but just like a lot of stalking. And didn't he like put a tracker on her car or something?
Yes, he like sent creepy text messages to her phone and to his phone to make it look like they were both being harassed, but he was the one doing the harassment. Just really sick stuff.
Wow, that is not great. Probably should not have him be a role model for people.
No.
But, you know, Bachelor Nation attracts all kinds. Even weird stalkers.
Unfortunately, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing we see here is Joe saying these famous last words, "Nothing could get in our way," with referring to him and Serena.
Well, and again, just another one of these couples who's like, oh, I think we're just the strongest couple here.
And cue Kendall arriving, saying she misses him. Just, why?
Totally unnecessary.
Also, it was kind of weird the way she like arrived, like breezed past everybody and like made a beeline straight to him and said something like, "Hey, butt face," or something. It was kind of weird.
That's definitely not going to cause any
No,
problems.
of course not. I'm sure it'll be smooth sailing next week.
Mm-hmm. Yes. For sure. 100%.
So
Serena is definitely not going to cry.
She's very strong mentally.
Unlike Ray. Yeah,
Then we saw Becca and the tag being distracted by Riley working out on the beach. I just have one question. Like, how many hours does Riley spend in the gym per day?
a lot, but I didn't feel like his push-up form was very good.
Well, he must have done it correctly at some point. Maybe the sand doesn't give him good leverage or whatever.
I know. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the person who should be like critiquing this, given just my soft body. but yeah, no, she was just like, oh yeah, I'm interviewing with you. I'm present.
Yeah. So that was it.
Mm-hmm. Action-packed. Yeehaw, as the kids say. I don't know what's going to happen next week. It's going to be kind of crazy.
Yep, we got Kendall and Piper coming.
Yeah, because Piper is going to cause drama for Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably going to be drama between Demi and Tia.
Oh, yes.
So
I know, because they didn't show them arriving back yet.
No, they did not. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty chaotic, I would assume. And who knows who will be our guest host. Well, you know, obviously, but I don't know.
I don't remember who's coming next. But
Wow. That is so typical. You have forgotten more information than I have ever known. Well, let me give the kiss count for this week. You're at 24.
It's a little bit less than last week.
Nope. No, it's not.
I thought last week was 26.
Last week was 23. So we are moving in a higher direction. And again, I will not certify these results in a court of law or under any sort of certifying body or agency, because who knows if I'm accurate. And let me just tell you, I was slightly distracted eating a nice piece of salmon while we were watching the first episode. So I may have missed some.
Well, I'm satisfied with the counting.
Oh, wow. I'm glad someone is. How can the people reach us?
You can follow us on Instagram at groupdatespodcast. And you can email us at groupdatespod@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Group Dates and Hot Takes, a Bachelor Nation podcast. I'm Sampy.
And I'm Christy. We'll talk to you next week.